The last 13 years, I've circumnavigated the world 30 times, not counting short trips like from New Zealand to here and back, or from New Zealand to South America and back, or from New Zealand to China or Korea and back, just the circumnavigating the world. So there's been a lot of exposure to much of the church internationally. And it's been a wonderful thing to be able to be involved with that. And twice in my life experience, I've experienced revival in different places and been able to be integrally a part of a real outpouring of the Spirit of God, and been able to see what happens in that kind of environment, how that not only affects us, but how we deal with that and live with that, and then what happens when that revival move of the Spirit begins to wane or to withdraw, as revivals tend to do. You see, something happens when revival comes. There's certain things that change within us. And one of the marks of revival is it's an interesting thing. But in revival, or when the Spirit of God is moving very, very powerfully, one of the things that disappears is a hunger for God. Because in revival, you can't really hunger for Him. In fact, you're almost doing the opposite. You're almost trying to stop the overwhelming sense of His presence that's hitting you. It's like if you're still hungering for God, you can know you're not in revival. Because in that place of revival, it's like His presence is more than you can handle anymore. And sometimes I've been in meetings where people have said, that this is revival. And yet I also hear from the ones who have been saying that we've got to cry out to God for more. I can tell you, in revival, you do not cry out to God for more. You cry out to Him for less. It's almost like it's overwhelming. You can't handle what is happening. But I know that what happens when He pours out His Spirit is that there is an overwhelming sense of His presence, more than what we can handle. And we certainly don't hunger for more of Him in the midst of that move of the Spirit like that. Something happened one day that was very interesting to me. One of the women in our church, who was a real intercessor and had been interceding for years and years to really see revival hit our country and to hit our church and our city, as she had been interceding and just pleading with the Lord to come and seeing desiring to see Him move amongst us and to move in our country and in a great way, she came to me one day very, very disturbed that something in her life had changed, and she was worried about her own spiritual state. She said to me, James, I'm really concerned that the desire to intercede that I've had and the kind of intercession energy and zeal that I've had has disappeared. She said, I just find that I'm not so interested to get aside and to cry out to God to come anymore. And I said, well, maybe that's because He has come.